Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we are going to have a little chat about the potential price of the new starter set for Warhammer 40,000 9th edition. And I say potential because this is very much I was going to say like a guess. I don't think it's really a guess. It's an extrapolation. So what we can see is that there is going to be a giveaway. So they're giving away 10 Warhammer 40,000 mystery boxes to newsletter subscribers. As the name implies, what's in them is secret, but trust us when we say that you definitely want to be in the running to win one. And quite clearly we can see there that there is a Ultramarine and a Necron having a face-off. And all you need to do, I'll put the link in the description so you can enter this if you would like to, is sign up to the newsletter. Okay? All good, all fine. You sign up to the newsletter and there's a closing date of June, the 1st of June 2020, coincidentally the same day that those price changes are going to be coming in. And down the bottom, it says there are, of course, terms and conditions to the giveaway. And if you like the legal small print, you can check them out here. Well, normally I don't, but today, let's take a look. So, what we can see is from point 10 and point 11 slash point 12 as well. So there are 10 prizes to be won. All entrants will have a chance of winning one prize. The value of the contents of each prize is 120 Great British pounds or 290 Australian dollars. Oh, 290 from 120. Christ, you guys get shafted. So, I mean, I say it every time. I'm not going to stop saying it, but you guys get bloody wrecked. It's unreal. If the total prize pool value is 1,200 or 1,200 and 2,900 for Australian dollars. So, yeah, this is most likely what the price of the starter set is. £120. I mean, it's not really a great leap to be made, is it? They're going to give away 10 things. It is a Space Marine and Necron having a face-off, and the contents will be worth 120 quid. And it does say, I mean, it specifically says that it is a mystery box. So it's singular. It's just the one. So, 10 mystery boxes, which means there is one mystery box per winner, which puts the price point at 120 quid. Or 290 Australian dollars, which is it's so bad. It's so bad. That price is insane for Australia. Unreal. Now, 120 quid is more expensive than Dark Imperium by £25. That's a lot of money. I mean, these boxes are already a lot of money. At £95, Dark Imperium was just shy of the 100 mark. It is an expensive hobby, but the price to entrance is, compared to the rest of the catalogue, not too bad. Now, I really want you to pay attention to the fact that I just said compared to the rest of the catalogue. I'm aware that it is not like the greatest value for money hobby you could possibly ask for. Every time we talk about the cost of stuff for 40k, there's always people going, well, if you compare it to this thing over here, I'm not comparing it to that. I'm comparing it to the rest of 40k. The 95 quid you spent on Dark Imperium was still a lot of money, but it was nowhere near as expensive as buying all of the contents of that box separately. Not even close to being as expensive as that. So in that respect, compared to what you pay for individual boxes, it was decent value. To be honest, if the contents are what we saw before, which I will endeavour to stick in the video so you can see again, then I can see the price increase. I can see it, just about. I'm not happy about it, but I can see it. There are some bigger things in there. The contents are pretty much... they're similar in number, but the actual scale of this stuff is slightly different. I mean, when you look at things like when you look at the Dark Imperium box, it's the best comparison because it was the last starter set that we had. Potentially, we have that massive spindly walker. We've got like 20 Necron warriors, like 3 different characters. It's not quite the same. It's a different makeup. I mean, the Primaris side of it, if those pictures that we saw are the actual individual halves of that starter set, the Primaris side of the Force is very different to what we got from Dark Imperium. I mean, the makeup of it is very... I mean, it's a departure. There is a heavy focus on close combat. There are 3 vehicles in there. I mean, technically, bikes are still... I know they don't... They're still vehicles. You know, you're still getting 3 little heavily armoured bikes out of it. It's not the same makeup at all. Looking at the 2 halves of that, what we think of the 2 halves, one of the things that came, like... one of the things that came up quite often in the comments for when we were talking about that potential starter set was, that looks like a lot. Like, that looks like a lot for a starter set. That looks like a decent number of models. And the actual, like, the models involved in that are... Some of them are just flat out bigger / more complicated. A lot of people were not sure whether that would even be the content due to the difference in scale, frankly, between those and what we see in Dark Imperium. To be honest, a price increase could well account for that. Now, my initial thought was, well, they've been raising prices on stuff here and there. Like every like year, every couple of years or so, they increase the prices on stuff, and we've just been told about a price increase. We know that there's one coming on the 1st of June that's affecting like 400 items out of 3,000 or whatever, which was the consolation prize. It was like, okay, yeah, this is going to be more expensive. But look at the other things that aren't being, raised in price. Interestingly, flyers were amongst that lot, which hadn't really been touched last time, and there's new rules for flyers in the new edition, which part of me really hopes that it's just a weird coincidence, but another part of me suspects that might not be the case. I would kind of, in the context of that wider price increase, I would not be surprised if the starter set went up, but we didn't see anything about it, and that's because the Dark Imperium is being discontinued. If Dark Imperium had been raised to 120 quid and kept on being sold, I think that would have looked bad, that would have looked rough. Those starter sets being, I think, kind of south of 100 quid is one of the things that makes them... It makes them attractive, that makes them more reasonable. There is a, like, for me at least, and for a lot of people I know, there is like a hard border. It's like, okay, well, anything over £100 seems like a vast investment. Below, and being able to split it with other people sort of makes it a little more palatable. It's obviously still a lot of money. If you split the box 50-50 with someone, that's still a considerable amount. But there is that kind of... I think there is like a genuine psychological barrier there where it's like, that's just a bit too much. That's okay. It's a bit much, but that's just a bit too much. If Dark Imperium had gone up, I'd have been a bit frustrated with that because, you need to keep the barrier of entry low. That's one of the things that makes the starter sets decent. They are still expensive, but they are more reasonable by far than collecting the stuff individually, and they provide a good gateway for 2 people to get into the hobby. I don't know that increasing the contents of the box and then increasing the cost of the box is necessarily a great way to go. An extra 25 quid is a lot, especially at the moment. At the moment, things are chaotic and awful, and people are without incomes. There's just so much turmoil, both physically, emotionally, and financially, all over the shop at the moment, that 120, for some reason to me, and this is completely arbitrary, and I'm totally happy to say it's completely arbitrary, there is no real-world reason for it to seem like way more expensive than 95, but it does feel that way. It feels like it's just stepping a bit beyond that expensive, but I think I can get away with it kind of margin. I couldn't tell you why that is. I honestly couldn't. I don't think there's any logic to it. I don't think there's any sort of I don't think I can do sort of reductive reasoning as to why that is the case, but for me it feels like it's just that bit too high for a starter set. Now, it could be that these boxes are not actually the boxes that are going to be the starter set. There's a part of me that is hoping that this is like a special thing. This is like a designed thing. This is a thing whereby this box will have something extra in it to account for the extra cost, and that is why it's that bit more expensive. But at the same time, a lot of stuff has gone up in price. The 2 halves of this box, the 2 potential halves of this box, do seem a little more than we saw in Dark Imperium. Just a bit, but enough to maybe account for a price increase. I just think increasing the cost of entry is not the way to go, to be totally honest. I just don't think that it's the right way to go. I'm hoping that this turns out to not be the cost of the final box. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't in a fortunate enough position whereby when this box drops, if it is that much, I would be able to get it. I'm not going to lie and say that, like, there's no way, there's no chance that that's me priced out or that's me, refusing or anything like that. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who are not in that position, and that extra small amount can mean the difference between someone taking the plunge and someone not even getting started because it's just that bit too much. That's the way it feels, anyway. So, I don't know. It needs to be confirmed. This box could not be the actual full final box that we see. It could be a special thing they're doing for this particularly, or alternatively, that is the cost of this thing overall, which would be a bit disappointing. I feel like that price point that we've got used to is... maybe that's why it feels okay, because we got used to it, but that extra increase on entry, I just don't know that I think that's the way to go, Anyway, that was, again, far more rambly than I meant it to be. Let me know what you think of all that in the comments down below. What are your feelings in terms of that difference between the 95 we're used to and the potential 120 that this could be? Is it just an arbitrary thing? Do you think there is something there that does make it seem more expensive than it actually is? Do you think people will be that bothered by it if they're getting into the hobby to begin with? Do you think people, for the most part, know that they're going to be spending and as such would ignore it? Or do you think it could have a genuine effect on those who want to start the hobby? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you want, don't click if you don't want to. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel. If you would like, I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.